Y'all got jobs?
Now look, I go first. Yes, I
do. You can alleviate the struggle if you go get a job.
The Social Cypher Podcast.
Yo, what's up, world? It's your boy Hop. Welcome to the Social Cypher Podcast.
We back.
We are back again. I am 1/4 of the group, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to this way on my screen is my boy Funk Track himself. Go ahead, dog.
You're on this side of me. This your boy Antonio Ramsey, aka Mr. Funk Trap. We are back, quarantine. Oh, how y'all feeling out there, ladies and gentlemen?
Same as they felt last week.
Quarantine.
I'm Lauren.
I'm wearing out of black t-shirts.
Bro.
Oh, God. I'm wearing out of black t-shirts. That's good. And
flip it inside out. Flip it inside out, you'll be all right.
I'm going to flip it inside out for sure. And the man giving fashion tips below me is the man, the myth, the legend, LB Broski.
Bro, a.k.a. LB.
Tiger Hood in the house. Tiger Hood in the house.
Ready?
I'm ready. Here we go.
All the listeners know, you know what I mean? We got some, thank y'all for tuning in, but y'all know what we're going to do right now. Right?
Let's go.
What time it is? Hey. I'm hitting the air.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he put on the man. He's too fast. 5.7. -2. The genius himself. Give it up for Ziggy.
What?
How you gonna put the glasses on Batman, man?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I don't know if you gonna get any panties with all
No,
that.
I doubt that. Yeah.
No, I'm the crime stopper. I stop bad panties.
Oh,
I stop bad panties from coming into your homes.
Please,
Oh my God.
please explain, because we don't know and the viewers don't know where that mask come from. Please explain that.
This mask came from. It's a secret. if I told you, I have to kill you.
Oh, yep.
Man, you're supposed to kill him. You're supposed to kill him with kindness, man.
Kindness, man. You got to.
Oh yeah, if I tell you, I have to kill you with kindness.
Well, as you know, we have an amazing show in line for you guys. We just keep handing up the artists and the guests on this show. And when I tell you, anybody in the music industry, good, old, new, seasoned business owner, anything, the guest on today's show, I'm sure he's probably going to drop a bunch of nuggets.
What we call
Jim. The Bishop Antonio Ramsey, dropping them gems.
Yeah. So get your phones, your text message, your pens, your etch a sketch, whatever you use to write stuff down.
Yeah, etch a sketch.
How do you think Jim sound anyway? Like, what's the sound of Jim?
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's real.
Clean, only because I play Fortnite.
You know what? I've never heard a Jim drop.
So
I've never heard of.
You don't want a Jim to drop. So
yeah, I don't think you want to drop it. That's why.
Hey, question.
Why do we say drop gems? Anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Drop token.
We're gonna circle back.
Does a tree make noise if it falls in the forest?
I'm out. Listen. There will be. Listen.
What?
Listen. What?
What just happened?
Do the tree make noise if it falls in the forest?
Does the tree make noise in the forest when no one's around?
That too.
That was because you said it all wrong.
I'm out.
You said it all wrong.
Anyway, if you're tuning in, or if you're tuning in for the first time, thank you so much, and for all of our listeners that continues to tune in each and every week, we appreciate y'all. And as always, we cannot do this without who? Without you.
Without your ass.
Get right into the social buzz. Antonio, what you got? I think we got a good one today.
All right, fellas. So we will, social buzz. We're talking about the happenings, what's going on in the world, the good thing, bad things, the indifferent things. Today, I'm very upset about this one thing. Now, I don't know if you saw. I be on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, John. Make sure you follow me at I am Antonio Ramsey. But make sure on Instagram there was a guy. You can probably see it on the screen here. My brother Hop showing on the screen here if you're watching. There was a guy in Pennsylvania. He had on like a mask as if he was in the Purge. If anybody's seen the Purge movie, please go see it. But you know how they wear these masks. He literally had on a Purge mask and a rifle at his side, standing on the steps of a what was this? Let me see. Let's just make sure I say it right.
In the Capitol place?
At a Walmart, at a Capitol building. Yeah, looks like at a Capitol building.
The Pennsylvania courthouse, right?
Courthouse. Now, my whole thing is, I understand that people are getting upset they can't go outside. But this man is literally, ladies and gentlemen, standing on the steps with a rifle, and no cop is stopping him. Nobody's telling him to move. Had this been a black man?
Oh, Lord.
Hadn't been a black man.
Please tell me. And he is white. If you cannot see right now, you're listening to this podcast. You know, I wish you could see this, but he is Caucasian.
On the
he's Caucasian. And my question is, in the midst of all these things that's going on, the whole pandemic, and people are still out here wilding out, and they're still allowing certain people to do these negative things that are just creating propaganda, making people think that it's just even worse. To my black brothers on the show, had this been one of us, do you think that we would be allowed to stand on steps and protest the same way that this white man did, with a rifle by our side, wearing a Purge mask, man?
What if you light skinned?
Well, Hop.
Hey,
that's a question for you. Look, that's a
even with my CCW license, I still would probably correct it. I still get
like that man we would have had so many bullet holes.
Is that a carry state though? Pennsylvania?
I don't know.
I think it is a carry state, but but man, it's crazy, man. You would never be able to see a black man, regardless even if he had his license.
It is an open carry state. I will say that. It is an open carry state.
Yeah, you can see the black man. You can see him for a moment, and you go see him fall.
Yeah,
exactly.
You see this?
He would be.
It's being taped. There's a cameraman
watching him.
That's crazy.
Nah,
that's crazy.
I'm actually lost for words, and that doesn't happen
at all.
Yeah,
at all. He's like off it at all.
But the crazy part about it is it's crazy that that's happening at the same time the southern states are opening up, right? So opening up business one by one, like Georgia, like by Monday, they saying like almost everything in Georgia will be opened.
That's not good.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they starting with what the salons, the gyms,
everywhere you can touch people, basically. Everywhere where people touch people,
and really everywhere where black people go.
But do they have it under control in Atlanta?
No, man. It was a lady I saw on social media today. She was a health official. She was literally crying, bro. She was saying that the curve has not gone anywhere. She said, how can you say that you sending love and respect out to the medical professionals, but you are allowing people to go back out and opening back for business? Like, you don't even care about their lives. Everything, because the curve, actually, it was 800 more cases as of today. So imagine what's going to happen when they open up.
Let me ask you why. Why do you think that they're opening up? It's all about
because it's not. It's about money, but it's also about the current president's alliance, man. And those are all southern states. You got Texas, you got Florida, and you got Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Governor Kemp, last year in the election, bro, remember he was the same guy who closed out about 52 polling devices, and he took over like thousands and thousands of voter registration, people's voters' rights away, so that he can, get into government, bro. So it's like it's all of his alliances, and when you think about it, man, all of this is creating what it created now, where people are going to Pennsylvania with rifles, and what are you fighting for?
And they keep telling people, don't do nothing. They say you should give every state need at least a 2-week decrease in cases before they can start opening up stuff. If they can have in 2 weeks see a case going down, then they can start making those plans. They doing it by not having no kind of resolution or anything to go on.
Honestly, man, I'll be honest with you. I don't believe most of the stuff that they post anyway. I mean, they could post anything.
Yeah, true.
They could post anything. So all of a sudden you say, okay, there needs to be a 2-week decline. No problem. We're gonna fix that. Watch this. You know what I mean? They're going to show numbers going down, and that may not even be the case. I don't trust none of them.
Yeah, I was talking to a homie today, and he lives in Palm Springs, and he said they start opening up stuff down there. And
wow, they didn't even see anything about that.
And I know that's the golf course mecca I heard down there, man. That's where they bread and butter.
LB, stay home, man.
Hey, I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be like Nene Lee said. I'm gonna let y'all get that first 2 weeks.
Let me know how you feel first, and then I'm gonna decide.
I'm gonna let y'all get that first 2 weeks in.
Do you guys personally know anybody that either was affected by the coronavirus or they had the coronavirus?
Yes, 3 people.
Yeah.
Are they
3 people, bro.
Are they okay?
3 people. 3 people came out. I think with my niece, they were still trying to figure that out. I know she passed away like the middle of March, and that could have been part of her complications. But about 2 other of my relatives, man, they said that was like the worst experience of their life, bro. We couldn't get to them, like no matter if they got it.
That's the worst.
Like,
man.
Let's say if your wife, like, no, I won't even say that. Let's just say that y'all know somebody who get it that's very, very close and personal to you, right?
Can't get to them.
You can't get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All you can do is a phone call, and then even on the phone call, they don't even want to talk because they be in so much pain. But they literally have to go through it by themselves. Like versus, your wife having a baby, or your wife like, she going in for a quick in and out surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at least you could be there, hold her hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't be with our wife if she happened to go and freaking catch this, and we can't be with her. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with a child. It was a thing about a lady had it and her husband had it. Her husband died. She couldn't even get to him. So the kids was by themselves. So it's real, bro. I know. I'm just like, I don't understand why adults are like losing their minds in the house, like they can't go anywhere. Like this is not for this is so you can stay protected. This is so like your family can stay protected. But it's like adults that can't sit down for 5 seconds for the sake of, like, even if you don't care that much about yourself, care about the next person that's trying to heal or get better, or care about the person whose family members have been in the hospital that they can't even touch. I think it's just like people gotta grow up, bro. Like people gotta grow up, man.
If you don't care about yourself, you ain't gonna care about nobody else.
Yeah.
This will be leading into another wave of it, probably in fall, if we do not crack down.
And it's gonna be because they already saying it's probably gonna be worse in the fall because we already got everything else that comes with fall already.
They said November, get ready for a second wave of it.
But you gotta get through summer. I heard that it can't live in heat.
No, yeah. But a lot of places don't have heat,
and it's about to get real hot in LA. The heat is back. So
I actually know someone that I grew up with. I mean, we've been friends over 25 years, and her husband perished, unfortunately.
Wow.
And he was in the hospital, and here's the even sadder part. Her and the kids had it. So here's this. He perishes. Okay. She obviously couldn't be there with him, right? Because he had it. They were both exposed to it. Now, when he perishes, no one can come over the house to console her. Can you imagine that?
The kids.
It's an extremely sad situation. So that's the extreme case. I know someone else. I know someone else's brother, and I actually know his brother as well, who was they almost had to put a trach down his throat. And thank God, they didn't have to do that, but like he's gonna have to learn how to walk all over again and all these things. Bro, it's crazy. Then I talked to somebody yesterday who I personally know, and he said that he had it. He had a fever for 12 days.
Sheesh, man.
They said, I heard, man. They said it feels like you about to die, like you about to check out.
If people hear these things, what make people want to go outside and be like? I don't get it. What in your logical mind, your adult mind says, you know what? Hey, there's a virus outside. Let me go see if I can catch it. What? Wow. Let me see if I can catch it. Let me play with it. That don't make no sense.
Well, in the words of Bishop Michael Jackson, let's heal the world and make it a better place. Okay.
Please, bye. And also in the words of Michael Jackson, coronavirus, beat it. All right. Feed it. Now, Hop, tell us what's in your speaker box, man.
Well, speaking of music,
started with Michael Jackson, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of music, as you know, I'm giving you what's in your speaker box or what's in my speaker box and what should be in your speaker box. And this one's a little bit of diversity. This is a little around the world. I'm starting with two of my favorite Korean artists. Now, these are hip-hop artists, okay? Korean, what they call K-hip-hop, okay? So there's a rap group by the name of M as in Mary B.A. Not NBA, MBA. It's like the modern day Wu-Tang Clan. I'm telling you, they're huge. They're up and coming, very, very huge K-pop.
And it's K-pop.
K-hip-hop.
K-hip-hop.
Yep, called NBA. When I tell you they got this song called Trap, they found a way to trap, literally rap trap music in their native language. What? Crazy.
I'm gonna check it out.
So check that out. And then the next guy is Dumbfounded. He's a Korean rapper. He's in America. He lives in LA. I actually did a show with Dumbfounded in San Diego years back, but he is a huge artist now, and he's an actor as well. You may see him on that like Roast Me show on YouTube that's been going on. Dumbfounded is also a dope Korean rapper because he's more underground. So he's giving you boom bap, Korean, and American raps at the same time. So those are my two kind of up and coming.
I like that name. That's cool.
Dumbfounded. Another group is called Dissect. It's like paste with a D in it. Dissect. I hope I'm saying it right. It's more of an electronic group. So going back to that, this is again, if you're working, studying, light a candle, you're doing your work. Yeah. Put that right along with Miles.
You got the mood for you.
You got the mood.
You know what I'm saying? A little bit of that, Thelonious Monk's going to throw Dissect in there with it.
Yeah, look at this guy over
here. You see him, look. He know his music. He know his music.
Hey, very well-rounded.
That's it. You don't go and light an incense. Throw it in there too.
Hey, what kind of incense are you lighting? Is that from America? Never mind, man. Go ahead.
I ain't doing that, Erica, by duty. And then also I have two mainstream artists that we may know well, and one is Jaden Smith, which is, I wasn't a full fan of Jaden Smith at first. Like Justin Bieber days coming out, I wasn't. But it wasn't until his new project and what he's been doing, like, man, he's actually a lyricist, and I respect Jaden Smith for that. And lastly, my top guy, Jon Bellion. When I tell you Jon Bellion is probably, like, he's a songwriter, rapper, singer, one of the most creative and original artists to date. He wrote Friends with the Monster, the hook for Rihanna and Eminem. Anybody you think about, he's wrote it. But then he started branching off, and now he has his own thing. And when I tell you there's no sound like this guy, Jon Bellion is the man. Like, he produces his own stuff, plays his own stuff. The guy is it. So for me to you, that's what's in my speaker box.
Putting us on.
Please enjoy that. Antonio Ramsey is coming to you, dog. Oh no, who's it going to?
It's going to
Capitol Hill, man.
We're going to Capitol Hill now, man.
We're going to the hill.
We gotta go take it to the hill, man.
We're going to Capitol Hill.
Hold on, let me play the Capitol Hill music.
You ready?
Here we go.
You doing the seance, bro?
Yeah, bro. Go ahead.
Bam.
Now you in there.
Well, guess what? It's a good thing and it's a bad thing, maybe. Who knows? But there may be a second round of stimulus. Well, there is a proposal on the table for a second round of stimulus checks. But hey, so we gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that because some people have. Who you talking to? Oh, me? Mind your business. No, I actually have not gotten it.
Antonio, you got yours, bro?
Oh, Antonio got the laptop. Oh,
Pop, you got yours? Mind your business. Okay, all right.
Mind your business.
All right, so the next round they're proposing $2,000, right, per month. However, let's wait. It says they're proposing for the next 6 to 12 months. It's still kind of up in debate because they're trying to figure this out because they don't know. They don't know if they want to do because the first stimulus package around this was about $300 billion. Now you got to add 2,000 per family.
It was like $2 something trillion.
Well, no. I mean, for this actual stimulus, the money goes. The trillion is for the overall picture, but for the actual monies that was going to the families. But the good thing about it now is there's more people in the pool, and I say this could be a good or bad thing because now, especially for the people who have not received a stimulus, like they're trying to figure out like when can I get my first stimulus check, right? So what's happening is that the government just has really outdated system right now. The system's about 50 years old. The IRS has now invested into a contract so that they can get everybody's payments out to them in an expedited fashion. I know, like last week, I saw my Cash App. It's like, hey, you want to get your stimulus money fast? I thought it was a scam, but actually it wasn't. Now the IRS is partnering with Zelle, PayPal, Cash App for people to get their stimulus check. So if you got it,
we had a question for you, Bishop Z. What you say?
No, he said yeah. So you got yours. You got it through Zelle or did you use Cash App?
Oh, I ain't get it yet.
He's trying to catch you. He's trying to reel you up in now. Look.
I'm waiting, trust me. I'm waiting on it. And then also, last but not least, some of you who applied for the small business monies. The money depleted, but there has been a bill to pass where they're going to replenish it for those who did not receive their funds. Not everybody's going to get it, but some people will get it. So that is on the way, and they're going to also give some money to the hospitals for more coronavirus testing. So that's it on Capitol Hill right now. If you need more, always check out CNN. They're the best place for your news source. So what you got over there, Antonio? We trying to see. I don't want to watch the news no more. I want to watch some movies.
Wait.
Listen.
Oh, you got a question?
Hold on now.
Hold on before we get to the movies. I just had a question for Capitol Hill. Can you specify for us who's qualified for the checks? Because ain't nobody getting the checks, and we don't know how we getting the checks. Ain't no website. We can't call nobody. So if you just a Joe trying to like, I need my stimulus check. How do I qualify? How do you know if I'm eligible or not?
So you go to irs.gov, you complete your information, and you make, if you hadn't filed your 2000, and the reason a lot of people haven't got their stimulus because they didn't file their 2018-19 tax refunds. And so now they will get it, like regardless. It's not anything that's going to your taxes. If you felt eligible within that criteria, you are going to get it. Some people just get paper checks, not to mention the Treasury Department had to add Donald Trump's name to the signature line. So a lot of stuff is backlogged for whatever reason, but you will get it. But the fastest way, go to the irs.gov, you complete the information, you got bank information, you put it in. And then some of you who got Cash App, if you did see that thing come through, I think about Saturday, go back to your Cash App. There will be a message in your Cash App saying that you can link your IRS payments to your Cash App if you don't have bank accounts.
So
boom.
So just so we're clear, the delay, the biggest delay was because Donald Trump wanted to add his name to the check.
No, that was an additional delay. And the biggest delay was the government has literally, and y'all can fact check me on this, the government has 50-year-old systems, so everything is outdated. Wow. Everything is literally outdated. The unemployment office is outdated. It's so overwhelming they can't even get phone calls in. They just quit. They just like, hey, do what you.
It's too much going on. Y'all get it how you get it.
Get it how you get it. Yeah.
That's how people getting these $8 million and $5 million in their bank account.
That's where the money goes.
Hey, and for those that I read to add on to Capitol Hill, for those of us who are independent contractors. Supposedly April 28th on the EDD website, they're launching something for independent contractors just so they can collect EDD. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to go through the regular process. There will be a specific website for independent contractor, artists, gig workers, supposedly April 28th, which is this week. Oh,
hey, so be excited.
So make sure you have your discography.
It was ready. That's Saturday,
meaning
right?
that you know what you do work in this industry.
Yeah. No, that's not Saturday. That's next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Next Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday. So anyway, Antonio, man, now we got
quarantine and chill time.
We got our playlist together. We got our Capitol. We just got off the Capitol Hill. Now we got to go chill, man, with you, man.
Listen, it's quarantine and chill. Y'all know I always bring in some TV shows, movies that you guys should be watching. All that good stuff. This week I'm gonna do it real quick for you. Now, number one, we got a show called 60 Days In. I know y'all seen it before. Please tell me y'all seen it.
Rough,
oh my gosh. So 60 days in. So basically, so what it is it could be either old police officers, people who was in Marines, or just random people. They put them in jail for 60 days so that they can find out how drugs are being trafficked or like what's going on in the jail so they can make it better. But man, they literally go through jail as if they're inmates. So people being in a fight and they have to eat like jail stuff. Listen, if you have not seen 60 Days In, it's Hulu. You can watch it on AETV, I think it is. Please go see 60 Days In, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2 on my list on Netflix. It's called What Happened to Monday. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but basically it's about what's it called? Let me septuplets. Am I saying that right?
How many is it? 6 or 7?
7 septuplets, right?
Sure.
We're gonna stick with it.
Whatever.
We're gonna stick with it. So it's 7 septuplets. Basically, they all are identical, but each one of them has a different personality. And in a world where you only supposed to have one child, this dude has 7 of them. So now he let each one go out every day as a different person, but one ended up coming missing. So now each one of them going out as their sister looking for her at one time. So I tell you, it's so dope, man. If you ain't seen it, it's a movie.
Hey man, I want your job, man.
Listen, oh my goodness, brother. Oh, it's amazing. And then number 3 on my list, Eagle Eye. It's older movies from 2008, but Eagle Eye, man. Especially with what's you know, if you know, you know. Yeah. Listen, so basically
Shia LaBeouf or something like that.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. Especially like today's Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf.
7
septuplets. 49
$6
It's a septuplets and Shia LaBeouf. They was on so it's them. It's about this computer system that basically takes over everything. Video camera, she can see everything, and she started trying to take over the world to get rid of humans. Listen, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's on Amazon. Now, number 4, we got Underwater. It's a new movie. You can watch it on Fandango. I believe it's on other streaming networks, but I know for sure on Fandango. So basically, they drill way too far into the Earth's core underneath the water. These things just start coming out and just, from there turn into some alien stuff. Y'all already know it get good. And last on my list is Shazam. Not to be confused by the one that Shaq was in. I know only my real G's will know the one I'm talking about with Shaq, Shazam back in the day. Now that was so that's a classic. Now this is a new take on Shazam, but basically it's a young kid who he gets powers. He becomes an adult in his power form. And basically, it's just him coming, taking over the world, him coming into new powers, and him just navigating everything. But it's a great movie. I thought it was going to be stupid. I ain't going to lie. But it turned out being good. Hey. Wow. So this has been Quarantine to Chill. If you ain't seen them, go see them. I'll have some more for you next week.
Can I throw a movie in there?
No, throw a couple if you need to.
A 2019 classic featuring my boy Antonio Ramsey. Audacity. Have you not seen it?
Listen.
IMD, my boy. IMDb, my boy.
Listen, the Audacity coming to you soon. It was out in 2009. I'm excited. That'll be out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all check that coming soon. Your boy doing some things.
IMD, my boy.
Are you gonna still do the podcast with us, man? Or are you gonna be too?
Of course. Oh, listen, the podcast is gonna have to come on set with me when I film. We're gonna do it like that.
Okay, we'll talk to your manager.
Exactly. Look, you stupid dog. This has been your Quarantine and Chill with your boy Antonio Ramsey. We rocking out.
Yes, sir. All right, now y'all know what time it is. All right.
Oh, wait.
Let's bring it in. Who got the candle?
Hold on now.
Got the candle. Ziggy, we gotta work this, man. You ain't had the candle for 2 episodes.
Oh man, hey, I'm trying to stay out of the quarantine, man.
And look at that flame, man. That flame is pitiful.
There we go. You gotta put it closer.
Struggle flame,
Make it look better. You gotta put it closer.
Hoppers go fix it. Here we go. Here we go.
Damn. Here it comes. Bam. I'll be in now. There we go.
All right.
Let's do this.
We good now.
This has the light. This is the light.
I'm ready. That's it. You ready?
Exactly.
Here we go.
There we go.
So check this out. This is for all our creators, all the creators, man, because we got a lot of things, going on in our head. We got a lot of things going on throughout the day. We have deadlines. We have things that we finish, we can't finish, and it's real simple. Either you run the day or the day will run you. All right.
Say it again, LB.
I'm sorry.
Say it again.
I'm sorry. Just so we're clear, I was excited about that. kind of jumped into it. This is the motivational quote. Social motivation.
Come on,
my bad. Let me introduce my topic and my segment. Let me back
the lights again, huh?
Here we go. The quote is this. It's simple. Either you run the day or the day will run you.
Woo! What does that mean, Mel B? Come on, Professor.
Hey, going in now.
You tell me what you think it means.
I mean, look, you gotta have several things, okay? You gotta have balance. You gotta have balance. You can't be fearful of the moment. You can't let the actual day run you. Meaning, like, have a plan, wake up, have a situation, have a schedule, and then have some balance. Let go of that thing you're working on. That's what I think. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm taking an hour a day and learn something.
Either you have a plan or you plan to fail.
There you go.
And it's very, it's very simple, because if you think about it, like our parents, our grandparents, our mentors, whomever, they would say these things. And when you're younger, you're like, yeah, okay, sure. As you get older, you realize that, oh, that's true. Or I see where I can apply that to my life. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I feel. I to your point, it's definitely a balanced statement. You know what I mean? Either you run the day or your day is gonna run you. If your day run you, it may not be good. Most of the time it ain't gonna be good.
I believe in your daytime, you should be intentional. You definitely should be intentional and have a goal set in mind at the end of the day. Set up a list. Like for me, I'm getting a little older, so I need a to-do list and I need deadlines. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta be ready.
So it's gotta be like, I gotta have my day set up by the end of the time. You gotta have that balance when to know when to clock in and clock out. And man, have a plan, be strategic and intentional.
I also think that too, we have to give ourselves slack in this regard of let's say you have a list of 6 things that you need to accomplish for the day or whatever. And guess what? You may not get to all 6 of those things on your list. And you have to be okay with saying it's all good. I still knocked out 3. I still knocked out 4. I gave it my all. It was quality. I produced. Let me move those to the next day and be okay. Because one thing where I would be upset is I have this list of 10 things and I only got through 5 of them and 6 of them. And I'm upset because I didn't finish and stuff. And it's like, you're only human. So you have to just, you move it on to the next day. You know what I mean? So, Ziggy, how you feel about it?
I feel like John Witherspoon said.
What he say?
Y'all remember that?
What did he say?
He said, come a little closer.
Oh, God.
Whoop that. Don't let it whip you.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, John Witherspoon.
Always drop gems. He was always dropping gems.
Man. So we have an incredible guest.
Yes.
That's joining us on the
show. Is he coming in?
Yeah. We have an incredible guest. My guy, Reza Sarrafieh.
From where?
With Roc Nation.
Hey.
You guys know who that is. Jay-Z has something to do with the company.
A little something to do with
it. Something like that, man.
A little something.
Yeah, man, and I got a feeling he's gonna be dropping some gems on top of gems. We've been friends for a decade and a half, man, and he's never failed me. Good dude, great information. He's worked with some of the biggest artists: Carrie Hilson, Robin Thicke, little this, little that. I don't know all the
Tekashi 6ix9ine,
Lil Pump.
So
Lil Pump.
We're looking forward to it. So thank y'all again for tuning in, coming in. Right now, I don't know.
He's coming in. We see you.
Yeah, he's coming in right now.
He's coming in.
Hey, the man with the plan.
What up, homie?
Man with the plan.
What background is that?
He's muted.
Oh,
there he is.
Oh, that's lit.
The background, Lawrence?
No.
That's lit. He worked.
That's the audio background.
Just as Reza Fashion would have it. Ladies and gentlemen, Reza Sarrafieh, right?
Hey.
My man said Lawrence, so that's a whole nother level.
That's how we know.
You know it's real. You know it ain't no BS. It's real. See, we did have a PG show, but it's getting ready to turn R real quick. It just turned R.
No, I'm actually in my daughter's playroom, so we can keep it PG. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's good. But no, Rez. So I just want to introduce you to everybody. You know Hop up there in the LA hat.
What's up, man?
And then we have Zig over there with the glasses.
What's
And we have
cracking?
my man Antonio Ramsey over here with
Hey,
the
good to meet you,
hat
boss.
on. Yes, sir. Y'all, this is Rez. Thanks so much for being on, man.
Yeah, man.
Man, let's just jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my boy Reza Sarrafieh, radio promo exec extraordinaire.
Right.
So, man, let's just jump into it, man. Can you let everybody know this, a little bit about who you are, where you come from,
I mean, the brief end of it is basically my job is to get artists playing on the radio. I met Hop years ago, back when I was at Interscope. I was there 14 years.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Now I'm at Roc Nation. I've been there for 6 months now. Other than that, I do independent work, helping people out, doing radio stuff. It's a dying breed, but it's still a small circle of people that do this, and it's still a relevant outlet. So that's what we do.
Gotcha.
Good, man. So Reza, question, man, for you. When dealing with new artists and let's say seasoned or old, what kind of data or like analytics do you look for to help launch a career or maybe coast a career or just start a career?
So it's really case by case, and it depends on which market you're looking at and what chain of radio stations and what level of artist. You said a newer artist. For the most part, I wouldn't go to radio with a new artist until the artist was established on one or two other platforms. I'm not going cold to radio with an artist that Instagram doesn't know about, doesn't have any kind of following on Spotify or SoundCloud, Audio Mac, whatever your outlet might be, your medium. You have to have something for me to be able to latch onto as a story. I can't. Radio doesn't break artists. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of numbers are you looking for before you check?
There's no answer to that question, to be honest with you. There's people that have millions that don't do well, and there's people that have a few thousand that do well. So it's not. I personally, and just so you guys understand the separation of how stuff works, I don't pick records. That's not my job. I don't. As a matter of fact, every time this guy has come to me and said, "By the way, look, this is LB right here," where like this is LB. Every time he's come to me and said, "What do you think?" I tell him, like, I think this, but it doesn't matter what I think. Like that's it's irrelevant. And also, a lot of what you guys need to understand, which I'm sure you already know, is that despite what we think of a song, how much is your budget is a better marker how far you're going to go as opposed to what I think of a song.
Wow.
Yeah. Gotta have that budget, man. So my question to you is, in this world where everybody wants to be the artist, everybody wants to be the manager, everybody wants to be the band director, everybody wants to be the stylist, what actually drew you to be in promotions and made you want to take this career path?
For me, I'm a different story than most. I was actually a pre-law poli-sci major guy, and I was going to go. And then a guy sat on my table and offered me a lot of money when I was 23 years old, and I took a job. So I dropped out of UCLA and took that job, and it's paid off. Like I've done well, and I left the job getting paid pretty well at Interscope, and I started my own company, and then picked up this job at Roc Nation just for. Really, the Roc Nation job is more of a profile position because I didn't have to give it my own company that I was doing. So it's a good situation right now. And in the state, you don't have to really be tied down to any one place as long as you take care of your business. They're cool with you having multifaceted income.
Right.
That's good, man. That's amazing. And then thank you for being on the show. I think this is super informative, especially for the business side. And also, I think this helps artists who are, I won't say a little ahead of themselves, but beat themselves up a lot because they don't feel like they've reached a certain plateau. But just realistically speaking, a lot of times you got to have that budget. You can be an amazing artist, but sometimes that budget could be the deciding factor between you and radio.
What your goal is, right? A lot of artists don't understand where they fit in a pecking order and how their income can be made. There's many artists that will never be a mainstream artist and will never see the light of day on radio, but they don't need that. They'll make millions touring, and nobody in America will ever know about them, nor care about them. And they're fine. Their overhead is all it needs to be for them to be very profitable and keep their band, whoever it is with them moving. You know, I work with this kid named Joey Dosick. Like, I don't know if some of you guys from LA might know Joey. He's an R&B singer from LA. And this cat is like, he started off just doing like pickup bands. Like at the Ace Hotel in LA, I guess they do like pickup stuff. Musician guys would know that. Yeah. He goes there, and like from there, he's selling out the Wiltern and stuff like that by himself and touring, because he got a little indie label that was willing to put a little budget behind his touring. And his overhead is minimal. It's him and a piano and another guy, you know?
A
lot of money by yourself.
Exactly. And getting into that, like in some respect, we know a lot of time radio is about, or music is a lot about, in today's place where we are, music is a lot about who's popping right now. And I know you came up in the era of like Garnett March, right? Yeah. That's from Interscope, and you were there for that long time. And he departed Interscope and started The Chemist, right?
Yeah.
And that was around artist development. And so by you being a strategic person, a strategic planner, looking at data, understanding artists, what does the data say for development now? Because I mean, as far as artists and their sustainability and longevity in regards to the lack of artist development.
So a lot of again, this goes back to the previous point I'm making, like what kind of artist are you, right? Like not all artists care about longevity. Some artists are happy to fly by night and have a single here and a single there and make their money off of that, because their sync will go forever. Then there's the artists that are insistent upon building their brand and them being who they are. That matters more, but to do that, it takes so much more now, in my opinion, than ever before, because like you have to like for instance, I'm on the road with a girl named Rhapsody, right? And Rhapsody is a very all-encompassing type artist. But she's not mainstream yet, right? She's cracking into the mainstream. But this girl is doing her social media. She's doing her own tour planning. She's doing it. It's hard if you don't have everything in place. And she's doing it great. She has a good team. Even with a good team, she's still very involved, because to be authentic today and to have the artist development, it's not so much developing your craft as it is developing your connection with your brand and your audience. I mean, I tell people this all the time, and I hate to say this, and I know there's several of you guys are talented artists on this podcast and some are listening to. It's not really so much about your talent as it is about your marketing. And in my world, it's more true than anywhere else, because 10% of this is talent. The other 90% is how that talent is marketed. You can be the most talented mofo in the world, and if nobody ever hears you, who cares? You'll never make anything.
Yeah. Wow.
You've been telling me that. You've been telling me that for over a decade.
Meanwhile, you got Wolf Tyler, who gets 7 million vines, who's got no talent, but gets signed by Interscope. Like this is the dichotomy I'm talking about.
That's
like,
exactly.
You got to understand, it's not you. Some of you artists are out there trying to perfect a song and perfect an album, and meanwhile, you got one single that could be a hit, and you're sleeping on it, and you're trying to put out so many things and stuff. It's not really about putting out a whole entire body of work and everything. It's more about marketing the hell out of yourself and building something out of anything you got. And then the body of work should be there, of course, to follow up on. But if you don't market any of it more than anything else, and you half-ass one or you half-ass two or three instead of wholeheartedly doing what you're supposed to do, then you won't really ever gain the traction you need to get for anybody to listen to the rest of your body of work.
Oh,
what is what is some of your advice around that whole guerrilla marketing aspect? What are your thoughts around that guerrilla aspect?
It's different for everybody, bro. It's different for everybody. Like, you got to find what works for you. Like, the perfect example is this Don't Rush challenge. Like, they're really killing that. And that's one of the hottest records out right now, just because of the TikTok challenge, you know? Yeah. Meanwhile, there's other ways to do it where, you know, people do YouTube challenges, or if not a challenge, like there's a movement of some sort because it's a song that's catchy and gets placed in a sync. It's so many different ways. And the other part of that is, because there's so many different ways, it's actually a good thing, because there's if you find what fits, it's like trial and error a little bit, but also you have to be more strategic about finding the demographic of people that you know will listen to your stuff, and being self-aware. People have to be self-aware of what they are and what they're promoting. If you're promoting a very, you know, lyrical, conscientious type of rap record, and you're trying to go to, like, you know, the hood, it's not really going to work. I mean, people want to believe when I say that, you guys probably hear like, I'm Gonna Be All Right didn't break out of black music. It didn't be like Kendrick Lamar didn't break from the hood and black people. It broke from rich white people that listen.
Right.
So if you know your real audience, then you pay you spend less money getting to them as opposed to fumbling around with the audience that doesn't really care, and you get more targeted strategically. Then you really have self-awareness helps you to be more cost effective too.
Wow. So question for you, Reza. So kind of going back to your point of focusing kind of more and honing in on one record and more so marketing. I know you're familiar with Russ, right? Russ had the format of just putting out one record each week, whatever. So I guess my question to you is, in that light, how do you balance the two of staying consistent with content, but also striving for a marketing process as an independent artist, not as somebody who's made it? Because I know Russ coming up, he was independent at that time. So how do you encourage or give advice to something like that? Does that make sense?
There's a point of return, right? You got to reach that point of return before you start having to do that content delivery.
Gotcha.
If you've got 300 people looking at your stuff, nobody's waiting for your next piece of content, bro. Keep building that. Get that piece to a few thousand or more before you feel like you have to really feed them more content. You haven't done your job marketing yourself, and then once you reach that, you have to realize when it makes sense, right? Because then you're not slowing down growth on anything else, and it's continued growth, and you want to keep continued growth going. So it's really a matter of metrics, and again, it matters how your marketing works. Like if you're a staggered marketing person where you're going to keep building one up and then put the next one out, that's fine. You could be like Russ that puts one out every week or whatever it was, and some of these artists still do that. They put out a song every week because that's the way their fan base moves. But that's more fleeting. Like if you think about it, because a lot of these kids that are looking at stuff, you kind of fit into a slot. Like you're not really commanding your own audience. You're fitting into a slot, a general festival type audience that's already there, and you dip in and dip out. And if you don't get those looks, then they're not really branching off out of that hive they're in. They're just staying in that hive. So it's almost like it relies on you to keep getting into that hive. And those are the kind of people that have to keep releasing more and more stuff. Because once you're in that hive kind of situation, like the festival, it's like that audience is always looking for more, like the Trippie Reds and all that stuff. They're looking for more, but those aren't mainstream kids like those. And so their audience consumes music faster. If you're a top 40 artist, or if you're a more mainstream artist, your audience is on radio, or your audience is on TV or Pandora, for instance, not on Apple or SoundCloud. They're more on Pandora and the more editorial type DSPs. They're not consuming as quickly. They're consuming slower, and they're not ingesting the music as quickly. They're not as exposed, as opposed to the kids that are listening to SoundCloud, who are just spitting out music and listening to thousands of tracks a day because they got nothing but time to do that.
But they go pick it up. They go pick up that song, play with it for a little bit, then they move on to the next one. Yeah. So in today's culture, do you still, you being a radio person, do you feel that radio is still a very relevant instrument to get your music out? I mean, do you like that more than, or which one is better? You know what I mean? And maybe better is the wrong word, but
So again, it's the wrong word, because what radio is radio is like an amplifier, right? Because we're talking on a platform that still a lot of America can't use, because they don't have the same kind of data that me, you, and the other gentlemen here have. Right. They don't have access. 80% of America still relies on radio. Radio is actually up right now during the coronavirus, because most people don't have data and streaming access where they are, or in the areas to be able to get up-to-date information. So this is the way they get information. So radio is not going to break you, but radio is what makes you a household name. You're not going to become a household name, excuse me, until mom and dad and auntie and cousin know who you are too. If the active listener is the only listener that knows you, you're very subject to being gone in no time and being nobody, right? But the passive listener, that's what radio is. Radio is the passive listener, the people that are exposed to music without knowing it or expecting it or really trying to. That's a different audience. And once they know who you are, that's a different level of fame and stardom. And it's still 80% of America requires that. And the other part you should keep in mind is there is no other free medium in America. It's the only medium that is free. Even cable TV is not so much free anymore because you don't, to be able to get cable TV, the antennas don't work as well. So you got radio and that's it. You got to buy an FM transmitter and that's it. You got radio free for the rest of your life. For us to use this, we need Wi-Fi, we need data, we need a phone, we need a plan. Everything else we're doing right now.
Bills. You need a big bill. Everything is bill.
Wow.
So I got a question for you. So in the whole world of radio, and is there ever times where you're kind of like, how did this end up on radio? Because a lot of times, some people say, "Oh, I love this record," or sometimes we might think it's just to honest. Sometimes I might feel like, I hate that record.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys should think that. I know why. You guys should think that. I know why, and it's exactly what you think. There's a marketing plan behind it, and it's again, it goes back to what I was telling you: 10% talent, 90% marketing, bro. Like the radio stations also have. You have to keep in mind what radio stations' ultimate goal is. Their goal is to generate ad revenue, right? So to generate ad revenue, they have to play music or do things to generate revenue. Now, if they're not generating the revenue they need, they have to rely on other people to provide revenue to help them with the promotions they want to run. So let's say Kiss FM, wherever you're living, or Power FM, or the Beat FM, wherever you're living, these are common monikers, wants to do a flyaway to go see, let's say, Wiz Khalifa. They don't have $5,000 paid for you and your friend to go to Vegas to go see Wiz. They rely on Wiz Khalifa's label or someone associated with the label to provide them with that opportunity for a winner. To do that, it's not something they have to play Wiz Khalifa's song, but it just makes sense for them to, in turn, promote the artists that they're promoting. It's the best way to drive traffic to their thing. Now, it technically, I want to make it very clear, it's very illegal if I was to say, here's money for a promotion, play my music. That's illegal. We don't.
Payola.
But what does occur is just common sense business, where if my artist is coming to town or if my artist is promoting something for you, it makes sense for you to promote that artist so that it seems like a bigger promotion and it's a bigger event and it's a bigger happening, right? And it has awareness around the artist too, because then the promotional dollars I spend there buys airtime for me that helps buy familiarity when they play his music bed in the advertisements and such, right? So radio is also politically driven, and it's also, they have to know that if they're investing in a song, because radio it's not the same as a playlist or like something else, because when radio invests in a song and playing it, they have to make a long-term investment. It's not, I'm going to play it for a couple of weeks and see how it does. It's more like they have to commit, 6 to 8 weeks of commitment to a song before they decide if it's worked or not. So to do that, they need to make sure that we're also doing the same commitment behind it too. So if you're a local act that's got a hot record and radio only has 10 slots to play records, right? And Warner has 5 records, Interscope has 5 records, Atlantic has 5 records, Universal has 3 records, whoever out there, 300 has another 2 records. That's at least 20 records I just mentioned. I'm not even keep going on, right? And then you're the local act. And the radio station in your local market has 10 slots for new music every given week at most. That's it. They don't have more than that. How do they decide to play your record over a Drake, over a A Boogie, over a Roddy Ricch? There's no way. It doesn't matter how hot your shit is. There's only a small portion of that 2 million people that live in your city, or 10 million or 200,000, that know who you are as opposed to who know the other person, right? So the common sense, and this is why a lot of local acts get so upset at the local radio stations, why don't you play my stuff? Is because, bro, you command 500 people in a city of 5 million. That's less than 1%. What do you want me to? Who's going to pay for my advertising if I reach 1% of this city? Nobody. So it only makes sense for me to play their song that reaches at least 20 to 40 to 30, 50%, that has more odds of me getting listenership that's going to continue to listen to my station to hear those advertisements that I need to pay my bills. So it's people understanding how stuff, and this is the thing I always teach new artists, is like, first, in any kind of sales game, because as an artist, you're a salesperson. You're selling yourself to the general public, to the radio stations, to the editorial people at the lists, DSPs. If you're not understanding what that person is buying in the first place and what they're trying to make money on, you're not going to be able to sell yourself properly.
Yeah.
Every rep that's ever worked for me, I made them understand how radio generates revenue, because it labels, and even with artists, they think that the guy at the radio station, their program director who decides the music, is sitting there like, I've got nothing but time on my hands. What can I play? What's the hottest shit in the streets? Actually, 10 minutes out of 7-day work week thinking about that. The other 6 days are actually spent doing so many other things that have nothing to do with the music at all.
Yeah.
So if you don't come with the right facts for this man, he's going to spend all of 6 seconds looking at your stuff and be like, get out of here. You're wasting my time. Right? But if you can come to him and say, look, I've got 30% of this demographic in this city on lock, and this is your P1 demographic that you listen to and require for your ad sales. It might not be 30% of the city, but it's 30% of your 20% of the city that you need to lock down.
Yeah.
And you have a conversation with them like that, that's a different kind of conversation that makes more sense to them. It's a business conversation, not an emotional conversation.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Nugget, man.
Man.
Get this man around.
He's up in them gems, man.
Hey, I have to ask this, Reza. Twofold question. You grew up on hip hop or rap?
Yeah.
Really quick, because it's gonna introduce my next question. Who can you just like give me a couple artists that you grew up on?
I mean, I grew up ever since I came to America. I grew up in LA. The first hip hop record I heard was Snoop.
Hey.
Thing from Dre, but I mean, I like a lot of West Coast artists. Second to None, DJ Quick.
Wow,
yeah.
Even like Sugar Free shit. Like I like
Okay. So I asked that question because I kind of wanted to, as a businessman, I get like the aspect of marketing and radio and that 10% ratio you said. As your personal like internal conviction, like do you feel like that's even right though? Having that because you named artists that necessarily may not have played on the radio. Like
right.
you know, Quick Tonight was on the radio back in the day. But in that vein, do you feel like even though it's happening in the world, that 10%, you know, talent, the 90% marketing for radio, do you feel like that's right in a way?
I feel like the radio is not here to be right or wrong. Though. That's the thing. Like we're talking about radio like a right. It's not a right. It's not like air or being being not bigoted or having equal rights. It's not. It's fucking radio. It's a private industry.
Yeah,
so we live in this country with privately funded industry. Now, if you were talking about the BBC in England, then yeah, you're absolutely right. Then it would be wrong because that's publicly funded by public tax dollars. That's different, right?
Oh, wow.
These guys are private. This is a private equity. Now, your biggest problem, if you actually want to understand why radio sucks, is due to Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996. That allowed companies to own so many of media outlets at one time. iHeart exists because of that. CBS exists because of that. A lot of the Sinclair Media that owns all the conservative media that is pro-Trump and pro-Rupert Murdoch and everything is possible because of that act in 1996 that allowed single conglomerates to own this many media outlets and sway public opinion. That's who you really should be asking. Well, that's not fair. But that's the law of this country that we live in. So realistically speaking, it's not my place to say if it's right or wrong. But it's my place to say that until recently, you haven't had any say about it, and you haven't been able to do nothing about it. But now artists are. I mean, I left a major label and I spent 3 years working with independent artists that never touched the major label because they made all their own money. You don't. The problem is, you need to change the metrics of what's important to you. When I was last talking to LB and he was talking to me about what do I take to radio, I'm like, why do you keep talking about radio? Radio should be the last thing you think about. It's not about what's right at radio. Radio will support you when the time is right, but radio is not going to break you either. So thinking about what's right at radio is still thinking as though radio is breaking artists, and not. Radio is just playing whatever is hot at the time. So it's almost like blaming, the zit for the symptom. It's the symptom.
Reza, I have a question, Reza, man. Like, because you and a lot of people don't know a lot of the impact that you have made and a lot of the artists that you work with. But what type of legacy? What is your legacy? What do you want to leave? What is that thing for you?
So, ironically speaking, I left Interscope because I didn't like the kind of toxic, like this business makes you start looking at people as commodities as opposed to human.
Yeah.
I don't care for that. So my legacy is the only thing I really want to leave behind is to show people that you can still be a good person and not have to misguide people or cheat or steal or lie to achieve success. I mean, I left Interscope to try and show that a meritocracy is possible, and it's not. In this business, it's not. I'm going to tell you guys right now, you're not going to stick your head down and quietly work and succeed. That's not what this business is. This business is more so, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. Hey, can you see me working? Did you see me working? You see me? No, did you see me? Did you see me? You got to do a lot of that. It's very taxing. Wow. And that's finding a balance in between that and success is hard. So even for me, one of the things I used to love about my job was that I didn't need to do that. For the longest time, my job could be done behind the scenes, and I didn't need to say, hey, guys, look at me. This is what I do. Hey, guys, this is who I know. And when I left Interscope and I broke Lil Pump, and I broke Tekashi, and I broke Lil Xan, and I broke Trippie Redd, nobody cared because I didn't sit there and post it every single minute on Instagram like I should have. And a lot of the people that were helping me along the way actually profited off my work because they were the smart ones going, look at me, look at me. And that's when I learned that this business is definitely still very toxic, and it requires you to be on at all times, 24/7, even when you're behind the scenes, not even the art. And that's very tedious. But my goal is to try and help people find balance because I'm personally checking out more and more and trying to spend more time with my family. In between this personal time that we've had, I've taken some pay cuts and I've taken some losses, but I look at it as actually a win for me because I get to I make a certain percentage less in money, but I have so much more percentage of my family to spend time with.
Yeah. And the most important thing, you get to spend more time playing golf.
I wish that were the case, bro. The courses are closed. I wish it were the case.
They closed the course now? Oh, man. Come on, man.
I gotta ask who better? Who better?
That day you said you had connections, I pulled up to the course. My friend.
Hey, look, man. You know what? Listen, all connections don't always pan out. All right. Sean shut it down.
It don't matter. The course is closed.
Sean shut it down, man. But big shout out to Old Ranch Country Club. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but LB, Antonio had a question. What's your question?
I want to know who better out of you and Reza. I gotta know who better.
He's better.
Okay, at least he admitted it. Look, he like, I'm gonna take it. Look, I'm gonna take it.
We've been doing this for a long time, man. We've been doing it for a long time. Like,
I'm gonna have to learn.
How long we've known each other, man? About 12, 13 years? No, longer than that.
2006, 14 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And this is the last question, dude. We go get out here so you can get back to your family. Out of all genres, right? You worked all of the genres, for the most part. Which is your favorite genre to work? Do you have a favorite?
I really don't have a favorite genre, to be honest. I have favorite acts I've worked with.
Okay.
But genres are all, I've been blessed that I've grown up in so many different lifestyles. I grew up by the beach with white people. I worked with all the rappers and black people at hip hop labels, and it's like I've had different lifestyles, so I enjoy different formats of life.
Yeah,
it's really the people themselves that I enjoy more than the genres, because you can't stereotype genre people. Because another thing I'm noticing now, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, is genres are almost a thing of the past. It's
good point.
The same, like with the tour I went with on the SoundCloud kids. It's white 13-year-olds mosh pitting to a rapper on stage, so it's like punk rap. Like not really a genre anymore. It's everything is kind of genre bending, and the kids don't want to be classified. So I like each individual human being separately from each other. And I'm not gonna say I like one or the other because there's divas on all sides, bro. Like,
I can believe it.
No way.
I can believe it. Look, I can believe it.
There's no way. Well, listen, man. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
As Antonio say, what did he drop, Antonio?
Gems. He's dropping the gems. He's dropping all the gems today. Thank you for the gems.
And I appreciate you, man. So for everybody listening, this is our man Reza Sarrafieh with Roc Nation, as well as, and what's the name of your company?
Pars Promotions.
Pars Promotions
is definitely the focus. We good.
Sounds like golf, man. So if there is anyone that is a new listener, please check us out at Social Cypher. And if there's somebody that you want us to check out, email us at socialcypher1@gmail. So check it out, bro. Since you done made it into the family of Social
Family,
Cypher,
yeah.
we do this thing where I just asked a question and I said, we are, and we respond the Social Cypher. So we're gonna do that before we get up out of here. Is that cool?
Let's do it, bro.
Let's do it. All right, fellas, y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Sir, let's do it.
Who are we, y'all? We are the
Social Cypher. Hey,
Shout out to Reza, man. Shout out to Reza in the building, man.
All right, yo.
All right, bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, me? Mind your business.
Podcast gonna have to come on set with me when I film. We're gonna do it like that.
Okay, we'll talk to your manager.
Exactly. Look, you stupid dog.
Either you run the day or the day will run you.
You know your real audience, then you spend less money getting to them as opposed to fumbling around with an audience that doesn't really care, and you get more targeted strategically. Then you really have self-awareness helps you to be more cost effective too.